officials just getting all of the technical facilities ready to go for this famous event. And now the starters are lining up. This is the field, 17 of them. Cassie Hyam from Glen Huntly, Eloise Wellings from New South Wales, Akana Murray Bartlett from Collingwood, Gemma Maney from Frankston, Kate Fitzsimmons from Western Australia, Camille Buscombe from New Zealand, Lucy Starrett from New South Wales, Tali Bird from Glen Huntly, Alexandra Patterson from Old Severians, Magda Haji from Ethiopia, Virginia Maloney from Collingwood, Melanie Townsend from Frankston, Charlotte Purdue from the United Kingdom, Melissa Duncan from Knox Athletics, Genevieve Lacaze from Glen Huntly, Lexi Gilmore, New South Wales, and Corinna Fife from Glen Huntly, rounding out the field of 17 in the women's Zatopek.
What you wanted? What's that?
So underway in the women's Zatopek, and a lot of eyes on Eloise Wellings here, multiple Commonwealth Games athlete and represented Australia at the London Olympic Games in 2012 and had a frustrating run with injury right at the last minute too, before a couple of Olympics appearances in Sydney and also Beijing. In fact, she jests that she tried on the Australian uniform 3 times but only got to represent Australia once in the Olympics in 2012. But is looking for a qualifying time here. Who has she got to beat, Tim?
Obviously Charlotte Purdue from Great Britain is up there. She's got a 32.03 PB, but I think one we've got to be watching tonight too is the New Zealander Camille Buscombe. Her form has steadily improved over 2015. She's looking for that New Zealand qualifier. They've got the split system in New Zealand. The New Zealand A is 32.05 and their B standard is 32.15. So a little bit stiffer than the Australians here. All Eloise, any of the other girls have to do is 32.15 to get that ticket to Rio.
So Wellings is sitting in 4th position at the moment behind the leaders as the designated pacemakers doing their work in the early stages as well. As they complete a lap and a half, we'll be checking in with Nick as well with the pole vault action continuing, the Steve Hooker pole vault.
So currently sitting in 2nd position is Magda Harun Haji, the Ethiopian. Magda ran the Melbourne Marathon in October, finishing 3rd there, I believe. She's got a 2:26 PB. It's also run a 32 minutes 10K in her time. We're not sort of sure what sort of shape Magda comes into this meet, but certainly a good run at the recent City to Sea 15K shows that Magda is coming into some better form than the Melbourne Marathon would have shown.
So Duncan is the leader from in 2nd place Haji, who is splitting the pacemakers at the moment, with Lacaze from Glen Huntly in 3rd place, and there is Wellings poised in 4th place, running her own race at the moment, and Buscombe from New Zealand, who Tim outlined is one of the dangers to Wellings, sitting behind her, and already we have a group of 6 that are covered by about 15 metres and are clearly ahead of the rest of the field. So as this group now is reduced to 5, Duncan and Lacaze, the pacemakers, lead Haji, Wellings, and then in 5th position is Buscombe. So that's how it's set up at this stage, the women's Zatopek with 19 laps to go. So Wellings is nice and poised here in 3rd. Look at that, right behind the pacemakers. The personal best 31:41.31. That was set in Canada in 2011 from Eloise. She's coming back from a 10th in the 5,000 metres at the IAAF World Championships in Beijing back in August. So having to get herself back up here to prepare for the Olympic Games, and currently sitting third as Haji drops off here. And Buscombe right behind them in fourth place. That looks the main danger to Wellings at this stage as we head back to Nick.
Thanks, Nick. 3K split in this 10,000 metre race, 9:40. So that was a 3:13 last kilometre. So the girls still are dead on pace for that Olympic qualifier of 32:15.
And the lady on the way up, Camille Buscombe, who looks the main danger here to Wellings. It's just right up on her shoulder here at the moment. Her personal best is nowhere near Wellings of 15 minutes 30.50. That was set earlier this year in April, but is on the improve with that personal best only run months ago.
That's correct, Matt. She ran a very good 74-minute half marathon in Hamilton not too long ago. So indicators are that Buscombe is definitely one on the move in the New Zealand scene, along with the likes of McFadzean and O'Donnell. A couple of the Raiders came across for the Melbourne Marathon, did quite well in the half. O'Donnell taking out second place in that marathon, going past Magda Haji in the final stages to take second.
Thank you, Glenn. Well, whilst that was occurring, one of the pacemakers has dropped out. Lacars has come to the end of her job, and now we're down to 3 in the main group, Tim.
That's correct. We went through the 5K, that all-important halfway split, 16:06. So pace off slightly from the 4th K, but Duncan's still keeping it nicely. Buscombe still there. Interestingly, Virginia Maloney has just overtaken Haji. So if we account for pacemakers, it looks like Jim Maloney might now be running third on the track for the competitors who will be going all the way through the journey.
So Wellings more than happy to do the work in front of Buscombe and track the pacemaker in Duncan as they've gone through midway in the women's Zatopek.
We really encourage the crowd now to get out there. It's obviously getting hard in the second half of this race, so you can get down onto the track into about lane 4. The girls will really appreciate your efforts in cheering them through. We're trying to get Eloise through to that Olympic qualifier. Camille Buscombe could benefit from the pacing that's going on here tonight as Melissa Duncan keeps the pressure going. Melissa running well into this 6K now. Gap then to Maloney. Then we've got Haji. Then it looks like it's a gap back to Fitzsimons and Mel Townsend from Frankston, the girl from the University of Northern Arizona. She's back in Melbourne running the Zatopek. She's got a best time around the 35 minutes, but a 16:25 5K certainly indicates that Mel Townsend is capable of much better over the 10,000 metre distance.
Those involved closely in the sport of athletics are fully aware of the story of Eloise Wellings, but after competing in the London Olympics in 2012, she was virtually on holidays in Uganda and thought it was safe to have a run, and locked horns almost literally with a couple of buffalo, which well, scared the living daylights out of her, and I'm sure it would have scared the living daylights out of anybody who went through what she went through. But as I mentioned earlier, a couple of Olympic Games she fell just short due to injury and almost gave the sport away, but got to the London 2012 Olympics and achieved what she always wanted to do, and that was be an Olympian. Can she do it for a second time? That's what we're wondering here tonight. 32:15 is the A qualifying level. Great, Nick, and whilst Nick was chatting to Steve, Eloise Wellings decided to put this to the sword and raced away from Buscombe up the straight, and here she comes again. And now this margin is out to about 30 to 40 metres. Wellings really keeping her form, doing a fantastic job in the women's Zatopek. So as Eloise Wellings heads to the back in fine style, about 6.5 laps between her and Zatopek Glory. We've got another presentation to conduct, this time for the Gary Honey long jump, and Glenn Turner will have more in a moment.
Thanks very much, Matthew. Ladies and gentlemen, pleasure award the inaugural Gary Honey Long Jump Challenge, and as you can see, Gary Honey is here, silver medalist from the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. I was there, I remember what I was doing. Please congratulate the inaugural winners, representing Collingwood, Karina Minko, and representing Athletics Nunawading, Nathan Deslanders, with a combined jump of 13 metres and 12 centimetres. Congratulations to Nathan and, of course, to Karina. We welcome Gary Honey and the Long Jump Challenge to the celebration of athletics.
So 6 laps to go, and Eloise Wellings is on 32.05. She's pacing perfectly at 77-second laps. A gap now of about 50 metres to Buscombe, so her hopes of getting that New Zealand qualifier are probably starting to slip away. Fitzsimons is starting to move through nicely. Townsend with her. They're up on Harji's shoulder and about to go past. But Jin Maloney is still trooping nicely. She's in 3rd position on the track. She's down the back straight at the moment with Eloise Wellings bearing down on her. Let's get the crowd support behind Eloise. This last 5 laps, obviously they're the test. 2 kilometres to go soon. And this is where Eloise really has to keep that momentum. Those 77 second laps have to continue if she wants to get that qualifying time for Rio.
Yes, so to remind you, it is 32 minutes 15 seconds, the A qualifying time, the Olympic standard time for Australian athletes. So that's what Eloise is now racing against. She has disposed of the rest of the field, and also Buscombe, who looked to be a danger mid-race. But now she comes down to the line, and as you can see, ticking over to around the 25-minute 40 mark. She's now got the clock to beat.
That's still spot on, 32.05 target time. So she's got a 10-second buffer here. So Eloise Wellings, 2 kilometres to go. Buscombe goes through now, 25.52. A little bit of work to do, but Buscombe's still looking quite strong. Gap back then to Jin Maloney. Let's try and spot Jin on the track. She's probably up in the top corner at the moment. But it's Wellings, Buscombe, Maloney. Then it could well be Fitzsimons on the track. Harji, Fitzsimons, Townsend running as a group.
Maney just trying to keep her form as that athlete passes the line with 5 laps to go. We'll check in with the pole vault once again in a few moments as well. But all eyes at the moment on Eloise Wellings. Look at this powering down the home straight. We'll have a close eye on the stopwatch. Tim has it in hand. He's watching this very closely indeed. 4 laps to go, and the split time 26 minutes, around 57 seconds.
So still lapping around that 76, 77 second lap. It doesn't look like Eloise is giving in at all here. She is looking very strong. For those who were there in March at Box Hill to see her qualify for Beijing, we saw just what a strong character this woman is. A cold, windy night at Box Hill, and Eloise Wellings delivered what she needed to do that night. A stunning performance over 5,000 metres to get her a plane ticket to Beijing. Can she do the same tonight for Rio? It's looking good at the moment. So just over 1 kilometre, 1.4 to go. So Eloise Wellings looking very strong here. We want that back straight crowd to really get behind her. We want the distance running fraternity in Melbourne to support Eloise Wellings. We want Eloise to get these performances in Melbourne, getting her to the international competition.
It's where the big athletes perform, the sports capital of Melbourne, and looking forward to seeing how Eloise can go here. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Continue the applause. Eloise Wellings trying to hold her form, and she needs to power home here. Next split time is about to appear. 28 minutes, around 13.5 seconds with 3 laps to go. Eloise Wellings We've mentioned what a strength of character she has, but for someone who was looking to qualify for the Sydney 2000 Olympics, now looking to qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympics, to be so good at this arduous sport for so long. Be fantastic to see her qualify tonight.
And let's not forget Buscombe here, Matt, because she's still going quite strongly. So Camille Buscombe, the New Zealander, we were expecting this to be her standout 10,000 metres. It certainly has been that, and there's no reason why this girl can't go on to Rio. There's some great 10,000 metre races in the United States. We'd say Camille will be looking at those. As Eloise really starts to wind it up now.
He's coming around into the front straight once again. And this time Eloise will receive 2 laps to go.
So 29.31 is the time she'd be looking for, that 32.05, and it's bang on.
Oh.
So Eloise is performing like clockwork tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another stunning performance. Eloise Wellings. Let's get behind her. 2 laps to go. Buscombe coming through now. She's going to break a massive PB for Buscombe tonight over 10,000 metres. As we see, Gin Maloney's there also. She's coming through. She'll have a few extra laps to go. But Gin Maloney currently leading the Victorian State Championship. Get another bit of gold medal for her collection. So Gin Maloney, the Victorian half marathon champion, now looking to take that Victorian 10,000 metre championship as well.
And without complicating things too much, Tim, we do have 3 races on here at the moment. We do have the overall winner of the Zatopek Women's. Then we have 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the Australian titles, and 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the Victorian titles. So we'll certainly keep you up to speed with that. But now as Eloise comes into her second last lap, what does she need to clock here, Tim?
We're wanting to go through here at about 30.48, and I think she's going to be ahead of that. We're going to get an Olympic qualifier tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get behind her for this entire last lap. 30.47. She's going to get it. There's no way that Eloise Wellings is going to let this one slip out of her fingers. Look at the pace. It has gone up. She's getting excited. We can tell the form is still very, very strong. So too is Camille Buscombe. So
32.15 is the qualifying time. We thought earlier on, Tim, you were mentioning she could go 32.05, but 32.15 is what we're looking for as Buscombe goes through. So Wellings has a couple of 100 metres to go. She will be the winner of the Zatopek, but there's a lot more at stake here. Looking for a spot at Rio, 32 minutes 15 seconds is what we want.
Spot on, Matt. She's going to get the 32.15. 77-second laps, as we said, delivered 32.05. She's been just like clockwork all the way for the night. Great pacing from Mel Duncan and also Genevieve Lacaze. Let's get behind Eloise Wellings.
And the crowd getting behind Eloise Wellings. Down the straight she comes. Multiple Commonwealth Games athlete, an Olympian in 2012. She's got Rio in sight. 32.15. She's going to do it easily. 32 minutes, 2 seconds, 6.6. She's elated. I think she's even surprised herself. How good was that?
I don't think we're too surprised, though. This is a wonderful woman, a great competitor. Look at Buscombe. Let's not forget Camille Buscombe, the New Zealander. 32.15 was the B for the New Zealand time. She's not far away from that. She's got plenty more time to get it. Will we see Camille Buscombe in Rio? I hope so.
So Camille Buscombe comes through in second place in the women's Zatopek, and Maloney we were looking for in third place. Will have to complete another lap to receive the bronze medal, and just starting to lift those shoulders a little bit. She's starting to feel the fatigue, but with 300 metres to go is going to be solid enough to hold the bronze medal. But that was exciting. Eloise Wellings, another chapter to an extraordinary career.
That's right, Matt. This will be a great... She'll also probably go for that 5,000 metre qualifier as well for Rio. There is talk of her stepping up to the marathon at some stage. Will we see that at the Commonwealth Games, potentially on the Gold Coast? But Jen Maloney starting to lift now. She's got 200 to go. Come on back straight, crowd. Get behind the Victorian. Jen running for third overall in the Zatopek. Something she probably wouldn't have expected going into tonight. She'll be taking the silver medal in the Australian Championship. She'll be taking the gold medal in the Victorian Championship. So an exciting night for Virginia Maloney. As we said, one of the exciting prospects in Victorian distance running. New to the game, mid-20s. The girl from Western Victoria. Big family, I think one of 11, Jen Maloney. She's an awesome athlete, and look at this, a big PB. Can she get the 34-minute? Probably just running shy of it, but Jen Maloney cracks it 34.00. Great running, Jen Maloney.
It's a massive personal best, isn't it? Because previously 35 minutes 40.70 was the personal best, so that's absolutely smashed it for Virginia Maloney. She will be delighted with that. As he finishes, the Ethiopian athletes, and then Purdue from Great Britain. Lovely to see the international flavour. And Fitzsimons clocking in as well as the rest of the field come down the straight. Well, we enjoyed that. We've still got the men's Zatopek to come. We've seen the athletes warming up in the middle, and we've also got the relays to come. Looking forward to those, the 4x400 metre relays for men and women. In fact, those events will be next up before the men's Zatopek, and we'll check in on the pole vault also. But I'm glad to say,
Matt. I'm down
Nick,
here with the winner, Eloise Wellings. Eloise, you've got an affinity with Melbourne. You ran your Beijing qualifier in one of our milers meets, a 5K last season. You've come back here. You've done that comfortably tonight with some great help from some training partners. Tell us about your enjoyment of Melbourne tonight.
Yeah, I had so much fun out there. It was definitely harder than I think it looked. But I'm so grateful for Genevieve and Melissa. They definitely got me through the first 20 laps, and yeah, I'm just so happy.
It takes a lot of concentration to run 25 laps on the track. You've obviously spent a lot of miles with some of these girls recently up at Falls. You've also been abroad. Tell us a little bit about your preparation for this before Falls Creek. You had an interesting trip overseas.
Yeah, I went to Uganda for 2 weeks. We've got a foundation over there, and I did some good training over there, and as well as kind of overseeing some of our projects. And you know, I just love training in Uganda, and I feel like it put me in good stead for this race, in a good mindset. And you know, it's why I run now for our foundation and the people that we've had the opportunity to help in Uganda. And it definitely gave me motivation and inspiration, especially in those last couple of laps tonight.
You're proud of a lot of the things you do community-wise, and you're also a very proud mum. Tell us a bit, this is going to be another Olympics for you. Tell us about the excitement heading to Rio.
Yeah, I'm a mum to little India. She's 2.5 years old, and she definitely keeps me on my toes. I think as far as athletics goes, I've got stronger after becoming a mum, and not just physically. I think mentally I've relaxed a little bit more, because running isn't the most important thing in my life anymore. And yeah, it's great, and obviously she knows that we're going to Rio, and she's excited about that. And I kind of already told her before I obviously qualified, so I had to live up to that promise tonight.
I think you predicted it well. Finally, what have you got to say? The crowd was behind you. They're on the track. They're giving you a big thanks. What have you got to say to the Melbourne crowd here and running your Rio qualifier for 2016?
I'm so grateful to everyone. You definitely got me over the line tonight, and it's been such a fantastic night. And congratulations to Athletics Victoria for putting on such another great meet, and to my husband and my parents are here, and my father-in-law, and my best friend Belle, and just thanks to everyone for your support.
Thanks very much, Eloise. What an outstanding performance. So ladies and gentlemen, round of applause again for Eloise Wellings, the winner of the 10,000 metre Australian Championship.